Retail's big show, the 2018 National Retail Federation, or the NRF Conference, is returning to New York City from January 14th to the 16th. For more than a century, NRF's annual convention has been an important gathering for industry leaders. Microsoft is one of the largest sponsors of this event, and this year, we are looking forward to having an in-depth conversation around home and online, front of house, back office, and connected supply. For more information about the event, visit www.nrfbigshow.com.
You are listening to the Women in Business and Technology podcast from Microsoft. In each episode, you'll hear from women in amazing technology and business roles, as well as male allies who are helping make the industries more inclusive. We are diving into programs that promote greater diversity in the pipeline and bringing you tips on how to build a successful career in a supportive community. Welcome to Women in Business and Technology.
Welcome to episode 6 of Women in Business and Technology. I'm Sonia Dara.
And I'm Colleen O'Brien.
We're going to kick things off in our Community Connect segment with a visit to Lean In Seattle's monthly chapter meeting.
And then we'll jump into an interview I had with Tina Alahuta Casco. She's the president and CEO of the textile and fashion company Marimekko.
And finally, we'll wrap things up in our Cutting Edge segment by diving into an article about how remote work can actually help shrink tech's gender gap.
In our last episode, we recorded live from Microsoft Ignite, an innovative conference for IT professionals to get up to speed on technology trends. It was the first time that either of us had the chance to attend, and Sonia, I'm wondering what you thought of your experience.
I loved it. I thought it was awesome. In my role on the Surface marketing team now, I'm focused on a commercial audience for the first time. So it was great to connect with IT decision makers in person in Orlando. I also had the great opportunity to demo and present along with my manager on some of the latest and greatest in the Surface world. What about you? What did you think about the conference?
I had a blast. I was really focused on supporting my manager, Jason Zander, in his keynote presentation on Azure infrastructure. So I love that I've been able to double back and watch some of the sessions online that I missed in person. For our listeners, if you'd like to check out any of the content from Microsoft Ignite, visit myignite.microsoft.com/videos. Specifically, to find all of the incredibly cool Women in Business and Technology programming from the conference, search for WIBT.
Community Connect. Get involved and stay connected.
On October 7th, we joined over 100 women from the Lean In Seattle chapter for an event entitled Real Talk, the C-Suite, What It Takes and How to Get There. Lean In is a nonprofit organization founded by Facebook Chief Operating Officer Sheryl Sandberg with the mission to empower women to achieve their ambitions. There are over 4,000 members in the Seattle chapter, which hosts monthly events on topics including interview tips, team building guidance, and fundraising strategies. This particular Saturday morning session featured an impressive panel of female executives, including Microsoft Director of Commercial Category Management, Amy Hansen. We spoke with one attendee, Carla Rubio, a sales and marketing executive, who was particularly inspired by Amy's story.
I think it's important because sometimes we do lose ourselves. And like Amy spoke, she's worked in a very male-dominated work environment. And I feel that when we know that other women are going through similar situations and are overcoming and have success stories, it really empowers us and encourages us outside of like the workplace.
We then spoke with a few attendees about their motivations for prioritizing the event. Boeing aerospace engineer Catherine Tadina attended in hopes of finding a community of more women in STEM.
Sometimes I go in a meeting room and I'm the only woman and in a room of like 5 or 7 people. And I think it's really important to, especially in science, technology fields, to get more women in there. And so, yeah, I want to get to know other like-minded women, try to encourage other women and possibly younger women to get into the STEM industry.
Technology account executive Meredith Falzone was seeking different perspectives on career planning.
I decided to participate because my inclination or how I think is so analytical, and the people that I'm around every day, it's about data and dissecting the data and using that to pick things apart and make decisions. And when I saw the piece about creativity and how that is so critical, particularly to getting to the C-suite, which is where I think I'm headed, or where I know I'm headed, I should say, I thought this would be a really good exercise to switch my thinking or challenge the way I think about things and the people that I'm around, how they think about things too.
Marketing and communications consultant Christine Owner is a member of the leadership team for the Lean in Seattle chapter. She's seen firsthand how these events can empower women in their careers.
Last month we had our negotiation event, and I got so many emails from women who had gone into their imminent negotiations and got exceptional results because they asked and they knew what to do in that environment and how to negotiate for themselves, and it was incredible. So I know for a fact that events like this change women's lives.
For more information about Lean In chapter events near you, visit www.leanin.org. And now, let's move on to the interview.
Today, we're excited to welcome to the studio the president and CEO of Marimekko, Tina Alahuta Casco. Tina, welcome.
Thank you.
Earlier today, you had a fireside chat with Corporate Vice President Tula Ritila for the Women of Microsoft. And it was there that I learned a little bit more about the history of Marimekko and how foundational women have been at the company. Can you tell us a little bit more about the company's history and the visionary women who helped lead it?
Sure, my pleasure. Marimekko's birth story is very special. And it very much, has set the mark on the mission that we are and continue to be today on as well. So it was the kind of late 1940s. Finland was very gray after the war. It was a poor country during that time, and there was a lot of functional needs that people had during those days. But at the same time, there was this sort of cultural vacuum that prevailed. So Armi Ratia, this visionary woman, her husband used to have an oilcloth producing factory in Finland. So what she did was that she started to gather around herself this group of young female artists and creatives and asked them to create avant-garde bold prints for her husband's factory. The couple had remarked that people had been admiring the fabrics, but we didn't really know what to do with them. So the couple decided to organize a fashion show in Finland in 1951. The idea was in no way to start selling. It was just to give people ideas what they could make out of the fabric. Mm-hmm. But obviously then what ended up happening was that people, when they saw what they saw on the catwalk that was utterly different, energizing in the gray post-war times, something that was very bold and positive, they fell in love with it. And people wanted to start ordering. And that's when the couple decided to found Marimekko. And Marimekko means Mary's dress in Finnish. So Mari is Mary and Mekko means dress. So funnily enough, this marks the beginning of kind of birth of the Marimekko lifestyle concept. So it all started from the art of printmaking that still is the core vehicle for injecting joy into the everyday lives of people. But then the first product that kind of started the brand story was the dress.
And even in recent years, there's been a lot of female leadership at the company, right?
Yes. So as you mentioned early on, Marimekko is quite synonymous with strong women. The founder was a strong woman. It was quite special when you think about it. 1950s, a woman to head a company and start internationalize it right away, having a lot of female creatives involved, kind of setting the foundation for our design language. Then also, when I started with the brand some 12 years ago, the woman who had led Marimekko to also commercial success, who headed the company for 16 years and retired at the age of 80 years old, was a very strong woman. So I think that the story, the very empowering story of the brand, our mission has always been to empower people to be happy as they are and bring joy to people's everyday lives with our bold prints and colors. So I think that has also resonated with the female audience. And that's how the journey has evolved.
Absolutely. And you mentioned your 12-year tenure.
Yes.
When you started 12 years ago, did you have your sights set on this CEO position?
No, definitely not. Not in my wildest dreams. Obviously, when I was a student at the business school, and I had always been extremely passionate about the fashion and design industry and really wanted to understand the self-expressive side of it and how brands are built and so on. Obviously, when it came down to the time of applying for internships, it was kind of obvious for me to apply for an internship at Marimekko. And when I started, something that really kind of drew me into the company was the creative culture. And the very kind of open organization where even as an intern, we were able to explore different sides of the business. So that kind of really made the mark for me. So for me, it was just a journey. And I have to say that I've been very lucky during the course of that journey that I've always had the chance to do work that I really enjoy and I'm passionate about. And most of all, where I've always had the chance to learn. And I think that's the key notion, because life is about learning and kind of opening new doors and finding new areas you might find even more passion about.
Tina, in the U.S., there are 32 female CEOs on the Fortune 500 list, which means that just 6.4% of the country's biggest companies are run by women. Do you see this sort of discrepancy in Finland? Or, I guess another way to think about the question is, do you feel like a female CEO? Is gender always a part of the conversation?
In Finland, we don't have many female CEOs, publicly listed companies, but that is changing, and the number of women in those positions is also increasing. I see myself as a CEO, but I think that, basically something that I've reflected upon recently is that I hope that maybe with my own example, with my own story, maybe it will help inspire some more women in these positions, should it be a route that they would be eager to jump into, because I think that diversity in these matters is also an asset for everyone.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. We've stated on this show before a quote by Marian Wright Edelman, and she says, "You can't be what you can't see," sort of touting the importance of representation and taking advantage of opportunities like this to be more public about who you are and the position that you hold. You've mentioned some of the core tenets of the brand around openness, authenticity, bringing joy to people's life. Earlier in the fireside chat today, we had a bit of a conversation about how it's very rare that you would use those words to describe the fashion industry at large. So I wonder if you could tell our listeners how you as a leader are empowering your company, your directs, to make more inclusive, joyful products in an industry that doesn't necessarily tout those values.
Yeah. And I thought that was an excellent question that you posed on the fireside chat, because that really pinpoints the topicality of what we think that is the Marimekko philosophy in today's world. What we can see happening is that maybe with the uncertainty in the world, people are kind of going back to the roots in terms of values and also reevaluating what is important in life. And what we can see happening is that there's a change in consumers' values. There's a redefinition of what luxury means, from the status symbols going back to making the right choice as a consumer.
Like along the lines of corporate social responsibility, like people are voting with their dollars.
And exactly. Understanding, what is their role as a consumer as well. And what we can also see is that consumers are gravitating more and more towards brands that build on authentic, timeless values, that have a true story, that walk their talk, that have character and personality. What we often talk about in our industry, that there is this kind of authenticity that is kind of a thirst for authenticity. And when you think about the Marimekko story and what we've stood for, for over 65 years, we think that maybe this thinking is more topical today than ever. Mm-hmm. And that's why actually within the Marimekko culture, because it all goes and starts and ends with people. So for us, it's of utmost importance that every single person that works with us, all the Marimekko people from all around the world, culture, that we're aligned on these values. Whereas many of the fashion and design brands have been built on exclusivity, on kind of defined pictures on how one should live their own lives and how one should look like and be. We've been always the brand to say that, and encourage people to free their own creativity, make it their own, embrace who they are and express that freely. So it goes without saying that in everything that we do at Marimekko, our values, they also act as these kind of brand checkpoints. Mm-hmm. So every single product that we make, every single store experience that we create, maybe online or a physical store, every event, every encounter that we have with our customer needs to fulfill those values. And we take full pride in that because we feel that then our mission is meaningful and we can maybe make that little bit the everyday life of our customers around the world better.
Right. And as a brand that's globalizing and has pretty rapidly, I imagine that brand checklist might get difficult to check off on the other side of the world. So how do you make room for cultural inclusion when you're expanding to a new market?
So a very important topic because obviously, as you mentioned, the internationalization of Marimekko has really kind of fast-forwarded within the last 5 to 7 years. And, we've grown from a company that has been very strong in the domestic market into a company with key markets in Asia Pacific, North America, Northern Europe, with some 160 stores in 17 countries.
Wow.
So you can imagine the internal learning curves, but also the evolution of the culture into becoming a truly global company. Mm-hmm. And that's why actually it is extremely important for us to get every single Marimekko employee and also our customers involved, because we think that it's together with the customers that we actually create the brand through the community. And where we spend a lot of time on is, what do these values mean, these kind of inherent core values of the Marimekko philosophy? What do they mean in different contexts, in different cultures? How can we ensure that they're relevant and that they're understood in the right way, respectfully for different cultures? Mm-hmm. So we work on those topics in a very integrated, together manner.
So today's event was an amazing session with the women of Microsoft of some career advice that you dispensed, which was greatly appreciated, but also an announcement of sorts of your partnership with Microsoft Surface. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that partnership manifested? What are the products that people can look forward to seeing now? And why Microsoft Surface felt like a good brand alignment for partnership?
Actually, one of the kind of key foundations for the birth of Marimekko design has always revolved around the way that it's been created. Ever since the beginning, it's been created through this creative collective of designers and artists from different sides of the business, all gathering around the same table and then coming up with new progressive ideas. So we've always believed in enriching collaboration and dialogue, and we've always been fascinated by how we can stretch and what kind of ideas can come about by taking the Marimekko mission of self-empowerment and self-expression and translating that into different areas. And following that thought, we felt a very strong cultural match and value match together with Microsoft Surface. Both of us representing a very kind of bold and positive, inclusive approach, both taking pride in making beautifully crafted, original designs and personalized experiences. So I think that, basically the products, the accessories collection that working on together really kind of manifests the true match with these two brands. So when it comes to the products in this very exciting collaboration, so obviously we are very happy to offer some of our most iconic and also modern classic prints, the skins for Microsoft Surface Pro, as well as now something that is coming out in the course of this fall, 2 sleeves in some of the most iconic Marimekko prints, the poppy print, which is almost like the symbol of Marimekko with the flowerable flower. And then Ragrag, Rasumatto, a lovely Finnish word, print, which is a very much modern, new classic Marimekko design. And actually, these sleeves are printed in the Marimekko house in Helsinki in our own textile printing factory. Mm-hmm. So we feel that with these products, we can give the opportunity for the Surface users around the world to really kind of personalize and express themselves also through the accessories.
I love it. I love that you are bringing a little bit more personal style to the technology world. I know that Marimekko's fame in the U.S. specifically was helped by Jackie Kennedy, who wore Marimekko dresses during the presidential campaign in 1964. And personal style continues to be this big conversation on campaign trails here in the U.S. and in major industry boardrooms. But it's not very popular in the technology industry, where Mark Zuckerberg's hoodie has become sort of this iconic staple of what we wear to work. So do you have any advice on why it's important to invest in how we show up at work and the importance of personal style?
Yeah. I think it's really all about you and your own personality. And I think that, when you wear something that you feel comfortable in, something that reflects your own personality, you feel kind of a stronger sense of self. So I think it's really all about that. And I think it's really all about making your style you.
Mm-hmm. I also think a lot of the Marimekko prints are so memorable. And I think about wanting to make a big splash, a big memorable splash, giving a presentation, how I always think a little bit more about what I'm going to wear on those days. Marimekko has seen some incredible growth over the past several decades since its founding. During your tenure at the company, during those 12 years, what have you been most proud of?
The people, of course. That is my true passion, and that really is my key source of inspiration every day. And I think it's beautiful to be able to work with even more, continuously more international group of people around this shared mission of bringing joy to the everyday lives and empowering people around the world with our designs, with the bold prints and colors. So we feel that we're in a meaningful mission today and for tomorrow. And it is extremely energizing and inspiring to discover new learnings along the way of our shared journey with our people and see the individual and team growth stories along the way. Armi Ratia, the founder, understood that design is a universal language that connects people across cultures around the world. So we're on this journey today, and it's been very exciting to be able to see the strengthening of our international foothold, and most of all to see the impact when people find joy through our designs in their everyday lives. So I think that kind of really makes the mark.
Yes. With such an international team, I imagine technology is a significant part of your day-to-day. How has tech changed how you do business, maybe both internally at the company, but also externally, how you're showing up to your customers?
This is an area which we are actually looking into pushing progress further in. Traditionally, textile and fashion industry is quite conventional. There's lots of long traditions and ways of working. And we believe that with the developments in technology and digitalization, it just offers completely improved ways for doing things. And this is something that we see as a tremendous opportunity. So how it obviously translates to us today, obviously, it has a lot to do with how we meet with our customers. And something that really connects the Marimekko friends around the world is that if you're a Marimekko fan in Finland, or if you're a Marimekko fan in the US or in Japan or anywhere in the world, you have something you can share with each other. Mm-hmm. So for us, our approach for building the whole brand is really about building it together with our customers. So building this community of Marimekko friends and creating even further and more interaction between that community and within that community. So really kind of taking our customers part of the brand journey. What goes without saying is obviously the effects of digitalization when it comes to e-commerce and digital business opportunities. I don't even go into that because it's so obvious, but something that we're continuously thinking about and planning every day is how can we use digital tools to enrich our physical store experience. And I think that is also very exciting because at the same time, what we can see is that consumers around the world, when everything is available digitally, there's still a place for physical retail when you're able to create true emotional experiences and adventures. Mm-hmm. But I think that even within that experience, digitalization can offer enriching tools to build that.
It's great to hear that you've been able to connect your fans regardless of location. Here at Microsoft, we have this great program called the Windows Insider Program, where regardless of location, our fans are helping build the Windows product around the world.
Exactly.
So it's an incredibly inclusive step for a company to take to round up fans regardless of where they are in the world and commit to a product development journey with them.
I fully agree. Fully agree.
To wrap things up here, can you share a piece of advice for anyone listening who didn't realize that CEO of Marimekko was a job that they could have and wants to be in your position one day?
What I would probably say is just to keep an open mind and a curious mind. I think that's kind of the two things together that really kind of helped me on my way. So if I, in hindsight, think about my own journey to this position, I took steps that I could never have imagined when I was in the business school. I could never have imagined myself being an acting interim creative director, not being a designer myself, or working within supply chain, which was not my core. So I think that it's really all about understanding that it's a path of learning, and sometimes you might find your truest passion in the most surprising places. So open, curious mind, and really kind of use mistakes as kind of seeds for personal and team growth.
That's really great advice. You know, here at Microsoft, we oftentimes refer to that culture of failing fast or staying curious as growth mindset, which is an ideology coined by Carol Dweck that we've adopted here as a way to innovate more quickly. Tina, thank you so much for the conversation today. I really appreciate you sharing your learnings, and I cannot wait to see the products in store.
Thank you.
The full collection of Marimekko for Microsoft Surface accessories, including the skins, sleeves, and more, is now available at Microsoft stores and at www.microsoft.com.
Cutting Edge, our take on stories in the business and technology world.
In this week's Cutting Edge segment, we're going to discuss an article that was published on HuffPost this summer entitled Girl Power: How Remote Work Can Help Shrink Tech's Gender Gap. The article starts off by citing a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research, which suggests that home working led to a 13% performance increase. And home workers also reported improved work satisfaction and experienced less turnover. I have definitely experienced this myself. I know that cutting out the commute from my day and having more access to, the comforts of home make me feel a little bit more productive. I'm not shuffling in between meetings. I don't have to schedule time in my day to go get lunch. With everything at my fingertips, I definitely feel more productive on days that I work from home.
Yeah, and the article then juxtaposes this with stats specifically about women in the workforce. So the first stat is the National Center for Women in Information Technology reported that 56% of women in the tech industry leave their jobs mid-career. The second stat is Pew Research Center states that 51% of women said being a working mother made it difficult for them to advance in their careers. And a third stat, a study from the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee found that close to 33% of women left the tech industry because companies were not allowing work-life balance flexibility. And I know personally for me, that was one of the main reasons why I even looked into Microsoft, is because they actually are very good and vocal about how they promote work-life balance.
Yeah, sort of across the board, the tech industry is heralded in juxtaposition to the finance world as allowing for greater work-life flexibility because we have the technology to empower that.
So then the article concludes by suggesting that remote working benefits women who are wanting to begin families by providing them with the physical flexibility and time self-management options that they need.
But the big problem that I see here is that that same study that's cited at the beginning of the article from the National Bureau of Economic Research also suggests that for these home workers, their promotion rate conditional on performance was falling. So people working from home, people working remotely, aren't getting promoted at the same rate as people who are showing up in the office. And consequently, the result of more women working from home might mean that even fewer women are rising to the upper echelons of business and technology companies to lead those companies.
Yeah, I agree. Until remote work becomes more of an industry norm across the board and the concept of showing face is not an input to employee performance, unfortunately, I don't really see this as being a solution for us. I personally love to work from home, and I think I am also very productive when I'm at home. But if I were to know that that was me sacrificing then a promotion cycle, I would be weary of it. But fortunately, with the increasing popularity of co-working spaces like the Riveter and the Wing, they're normalizing working remotely. I'm pretty hopeful that flexible ways of working will prevent women from needing to decide between family and career. All right, well, I think that was a great episode.
I agree. Great work this time around. And as a reminder to our listeners, please subscribe to our show. We appreciate any ratings that you're able to provide. And please share our show. If you know someone who you think might like it, send them a quick text and let them know. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And we're always looking for feedback, questions, any concerns you might have. You can email us at wibt@microsoft.com, or you can tweet us at Microsoft Women.
And we know that there was a lot of great life and career advice on this episode, so get out there and crush it this week.
Yeah, go get it.